News Now is brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, Docomo Pacific, island-wide, worldwide, the choice is clear. And Micronesia Renewable Energy. Go solar for zero money down. From the Pacific News Center in Hagåtña, Guam, here's Clint Ridgell and Janella Carrera. Betsy Brown. Roselle Romanes. PNC Sports with Blake Watson. And weather with Rebecca Kim. With your news now.
Half a day and good evening. You're watching PNC's News Now. I'm Clint Ridgell.
And I'm Janella Carrera. With your top stories tonight, in a surprising turn of events, a mistrial was declared in the Agababa murder case. And in another murder trial, the judge had to issue a warning against the defendant. We have two reports tonight. First, we begin with Agababa. Court Administrator Josh Tenorio says Judge Maria Senzon declared the mistrial sometime before noon today, following a determination that the jury had reached an impasse in their deliberations and were deadlocked. Jurors went into deliberations on October 31st after about 2 weeks of trial. Alan Agababa is accused of slaying his mother, Shelley Bernstein, for insurance benefits. Following the mistrial, PNC spoke with Attorney General Lenny Rapatis for his reaction.
We firmly believe in this case, so we do intend to retry this case. It's set for a trial setting again, which means that the party is going to come before the court again and try to figure out the best time to try this case.
At that trial setting, says Rapatis, it will be the same prosecution team representing the people, attorneys Brian Gallagher and Jeremiah Luther. Agababa's defense counsel is attorney Randy Cunliffe.
I think it is that might have gone wrong, if anything went wrong, that, with the way that the prosecution tried this case.
Oh, I've been following it, and at this point, I don't see anything at this point.
Asked whether attorneys were able to poll jurors regarding their decisions, Rapatis says,
every time we get some kind of verdict, either guilty, not guilty, or if we get something like this, we do try our best to speak to the jurors. But at this point, there's really nothing I can share with you at this point because we are still in trial mode.
The jury had several controversial testimonies to consider. First is from police officers who observed unusual behavior from Alan Agababa after he reported finding his mother dead. Then there's a testimony from Agababa's friend, Randy Fulcher, who claims Agababa confessed to killing his mother and even asked for his help in disposing of a firearm. Finally, there's the opposing testimony of two different medical examiners. Guam's medical examiner, Dr. Aurelio Espinola, says Shelley Bernstein was murdered and died of blunt force trauma to her forehead. California-based medical examiner Dr. Joseph Cohen, however, believes Bernstein died of an accidental overdose and that her head injury was caused by a fall. Over in the Castro murder trial, Judge James Canto had to issue a stern warning against John Castro for interrupting court proceedings and making accusations against a witness. Here's how it happened.
Okay, does the government have another witness call? Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gallagher.
Although inaudible, John Castro was speaking with his attorney in reaction to the testimony of police officer Irvin Aquino, who was the officer who apprehended Castro 2 days after 23-month-old Alzana Latino died. Castro is accused of severely injuring Alzana, causing her death. Judge James Canto did not tolerate Castro's actions because it happened in the presence of jurors. So during recess, Judge Canto warned Castro.
Mr. Castro, at one point you made a statement very loud saying that a witness was lying. When you're doing that, you're testifying as a witness because it involves something that the witness was talking about that you were present for. You're not allowed to do that. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I lost my cool.
Another police detective testified today, Officer John Lizama, who conducted the investigation and interviewed both Castro and the victim's mother, Susana Latino. Lizama says he was present during the autopsy and described one particular injury he thought suspicious, a scratch behind the baby's ear. Castro's pinky, he said, had a long fingernail.
The scratch behind the right ear was due to the fact that Mr. Castro had placed his hand over the victim's face, and the scratch was because of the pinky having been placed behind the left ear, or her right ear, his left hand, and as he squeezed, it caused the bruising on her face.
But the doctor, you talked about him with the fingernail scratch, correct? Or I mean the scratch in the back of the ear. Yeah. Isn't it true that he mentioned that it could have been the baby's own fingernail?
He said that the possibility of the scratch coming from the child could happen as well. But the reason, like I said, that I believe why I did was because the bruises coincided with fingers impressions onto the face.
Defense attorney Suresh Sampath also criticized Officer Lizama on how he conducted his investigation.
Didn't you find it hard to believe that she didn't know her kid was being abused?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And yet you didn't pick her up?
Sir, we will arrest our in focus right there because the death.
To find out more on both the Agababa and Castro murder cases, log on to PacificNewsCenter.com.
The Guam Fire Department responded to a house fire this afternoon in Inarajan. Fire Captain Ronnie Chiguina says although the fire was extinguished within 20 minutes, it left a family of 5 with no home. PNC's Rizal Romanes has
a
a story.
family of 5 has lost their Inarajan home after it was destroyed by a fire this afternoon. Fire Captain Ronnie Chiguina says a 911 call was made by neighboring relatives when they smelled smoke coming from the empty house.
Our first units arrived and they performed fire attack at 12:37. Okay, knocked down the fire got it under control about 12:56. And about 20 minutes to extinguish the fire. The 20 by 30 Winton structure was fully involved, as they confirmed.
According to GFD, a family of 5 currently live at the residence, but no one was home at the time of the incident, so no one was hurt.
The structure is really unsafe. Most of it's still standing, but again, it's made of wooden tin, so the firefighters had performed a fire attack from the exterior. At this point, with our preliminary investigation actually point to electrical in nature.
Rizal Romanes, PNC News.
All right, well, let's check in with Blake Watson for sports.
Hey, be sure to stick around for sports. The always exciting DPR Co-Ed Gov Guam Volleyball League. The public defenders not doing much defending against their loss streak, no. And also, Sunday night softball nightcap. Stick around, sport.